And we're going, I never thought about it. You just mentioned it earlier.
Come on, class. We got a lot to cover today.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about Michal. And that's how you pronounce her name, even though we want to say Michael. So if I mess up and say Michael, y'all know who I'm talking about. Okay? She was the younger daughter of Saul. And if you want to follow along in the scriptures, you can start with 1 Samuel 18:20. Everybody loved David, right? Everybody loved David. You're going to see that in a little bit. As a matter of fact, you saw a little bit of it last night. You saw all those women just waving their little palm fronds and looking kind of glassy-eyed because he was a good-looking man. Imagine now, just imagine women. You got a Navy SEAL with the talent of Michael Douglas Smith, who can write poetry and sing and make music, and the looks of Mel Gibson. That was some kind of man, okay? So everybody loved David. So why should Michal be any different? So people started noticing that she had the moon eyes for David. Okay? And you could see that little exchange going on where she's looking down at him, he's looking up at her. So word got around that she was in love with him. And Saul went, aha, I've got him. This is how I can get rid of two enemies at the same time. I can get rid of the Philistines and I can get rid of David. So he said, David, I'd like to give you Michal. And David said, oh no, I'm just a lowly shepherd man. I have no money. So how could I become your son-in-law? And he said, well, I'll tell you how you can do it. He said, I'd like you to give me the foreskins of 100 Philistine men. Now y'all, and me and y'all can do this, all right? I used to do a lot of pediatrics, and I have been in on a couple of circumcisions. And it took several people to hold down a small baby. So imagine how many people it would take to hold down a Philistine man. So David had to be some kind of man to do this, right? He said, because he had God on his side. And y'all don't know. Y'all look through the Bible about how many times circumcision and foreskins are mentioned and interesting events that happen related to that. And David can give you the scriptures. Memorize things real well. So anyway, David says, sure, I'll do that. So not only did he get 100 Philistine foreskins, he got 200. So, and did he die? No. Rats. Saul's plan was foiled again. Now, what's sad about the scripture, and if you'll read through here, it talks about how David was pleased to be Saul's son-in-law. It never says anything about him being pleased to be Michal's husband. Basically, she is a political pawn. She is moved around by Saul, her very powerful dad, and David. So, they got married. Does anybody know what Michal's name means? It means who is like God. Now, there is no evidence in the Bible that she loved God like David did.
Looking for him again. This is the second time they were in a cave. Saul is asleep. David goes into the cave. He took Saul's sword and his water bottle. So I guess you could say he stole Saul's sword and his canteen, right, if you want to say that. But he took his sword and his water bottle. And once again, David taunted Saul. And he said, Abner, you're his general. Why were you asleep? You're supposed to be taking care of my king. Why were you asleep? So he taunts Abner. And he gives the sword back to Saul like that. And his water bottle. And Saul once again says, God bless you, David. I'm done with you. We're going home. We're going home. Well, that was the last time Saul chased David. But it's not because Saul had a change of heart. But let me ask you this question. Why did David not kill Saul? Why did David not kill Saul? He had two opportunities. Why didn't he do it? You want to see what the scripture says? He didn't want to set a precedent. 1 Samuel 24:6. Who would like to read it? 450 years of futility. Jerusalem was a Jebusite stronghold. The children of Israel had never been able to take over Jerusalem. And you see Saul's capital, like I said, was in Gilbeah. Now, Gilbeah, it's Gilbeah. It is right here. It's probably about 10 miles north of Jerusalem. But you see, on three sides, Jerusalem was on top of a ridge over a valley. And you know, last night we talked about how it's not very good to be attacking uphill. Well, David attacked Jerusalem, and he took it. The reason that he took Jerusalem, another political thing, is that it was a perfect location between the southern and the northern kingdom.